Welcome, Sketchbook Heroes, Sketchbook Warriors. We're going to talk a little bit about warm-up. Warming up is really important, but you don't have to like take an hour to warm up. It's just 1 minute, and it's good to just have a one focus. The first focus in drawing is action. Just take action. Get out of your comfort zone. Just make scribbles. So that's one good. We'll just talk a little bit about warming up. So here we go. Let's just do it. Grab a piece of paper, grab anything. It doesn't matter. Grab a thing, get comfortable with your get comfortable with the uncomfortable. So even just scribbling, right? Getting to know your material. You can use any kind of pencil when you're learning to draw. But warming up, what kind of lines, what are you focusing on? And you don't have to focus a lot. See, like here, there's a focus there. And the first focus is just making lines, not being afraid to make mistakes. That's the first focus. Once you have that kind of down, say, okay, I got mine, and kind of understanding your material, then you can start focusing on the different things. First one is, the second one after action is line making. What kind of lines are you making, right? And having some control over the lines, some soft lines, even just scribbling around, having 2 points, straight lines, and then trying to get 1 point to another, 1 point to another, or even making, after doing line, then going to shape, right? Practicing your shapes. The most important shapes, there's 3 basic shapes, but the square and then the circle, those are the important ones. And just even practice drawing circles. So that's what you can do. Just, practice one of these. So we'll start off with marks, making marks. That would probably be the first one. Woo! Making marks. And all you need to do is 1 minute, 1 minute of it, 1 to 5 minutes of warm up. You don't need a lot of this. And then but if you do it continually, that's what's important. That's what's important. So I'm just going over through a lot of these. It's going to take me a longer to explain all this, but you can be doing these kind of marks. So the next one would be shapes. Actually, lines. Lines. I'm trying to go from simple to complex. So lines, there's different kinds of lines. And if you just explore line, okay, I'm going to explore line. Just take some time to explore line. That's what my focus is, right? And then, okay, just explore different kinds of line. You can do that for a while and just explore line and make a, oh, just warming up. This is your warm up. Then we go into shapes. I would say shapes. You wouldn't do all this at once. You want to do this just focusing as where you believe your level is. What is your focus? And where your energy goes, and where your focus goes, energy flows. So you got to get that energy flowing in that direction. So let's get going on shapes. Definitely circles. Circles are really good to practice. Sometimes you want to use your whole arm to do it. I'm using my whole arm. Sometimes you want to use smaller, like your wrist movement here to do your finger movement to do smaller circles or bigger circles or circles inside circles, and just scribbling them. And this is just good warm up. Okay, I'm going to focus on circles. And that shape. Circles are really good. And I would go from circles then to ovals. Practice ovals. Ovals are really good because that's starting to get into form. Because an oval is just a circle tilted in space. You want to get some thin ovals and some wider ovals, and then just practice that if that's all you're doing. So we got circles, ovals, and then we get to more like squares. Squares, yeah, get into squares. And squares inside of squares, and spirals. You can do spirals too as far as circles. It's a good just little exercise, just warming up, trying to focus on aiming for something. You're aiming for something. You could be even aiming lines inside of lines, just to do something to get you warmed up really quick. And then I would probably go into form. Form, this is the toughest one. One of the tougher ones, because now you're doing form. We have shapes, which are flat, and then you have form, which we had quite a few people, we had a couple of people ask about form. So we're going to get into form our second hour. And form, the most basic and important form is the cube. and the sphere, but I think the cube really outshines the sphere here, and being able to make a lot of cubes so you can do cubes. The challenge with cubes is that they change in space. Let's see, where's our, here we go. They change in space. We have a 2x2 here, but as it turns, it changes in space. So getting those planes, we'll talk about that in the second hour. But yeah, it's a good practice to different cubes and move the cube around. Watch your angles. Definitely watch your angles. Try to see the planes, and we'll talk about that second hour. And that's a good practice. Another practice, shading. And just doing this really quick. And then you can go into other warm-ups, like little people, doing little people, and just really quick, a person here, maybe running, jumping, doing something, get the anatomy right. If you and this is just really small, just playing around. See, and that actually makes it gives story to this, all this scribbling, right? You can do animals. If you focus on animals, whatever your focus is, and warm up should be 1 to 5 minutes, 1 to 5 minutes of just all right, just playing. It's really just playing. Let your thing, start making marks. Don't be afraid to make marks, make mistakes, because mistakes are the stepping stones to success. So all right, we'll get into that. And well, quick recap, because there's 7 elements and 7 principles. So we just did a lot of them. We did line, shape, form, value. Texture would be good to practice. Even color and space, those would be good warm-ups, just to play and experiment and explore. And it's really should be just play. A lot of times it's challenging. This stuff's challenging, because if you really want to get up to here, you want to get up to doing abstract art, or still life, architecture, perspective, drawing animals, figure drawing, anatomy. All this stuff is this is the foundation of all that. You have to understand the 7 elements and 7 principles. We focus just on line, shape, and form, on learning how to draw. When you're learning to draw, this is all you really need to know. And everything else is the icing on the cake as we go higher and higher and up. The principles of art, just so the elements are the building blocks, and the principles is how you put those blocks together. Right? We talk about balance and movement and rhythm and telling the story and trying to have a unified, cohesive design. This is how you put those elements together. This is how you put all those cubes and stuff like that to create story or cartoons or everything that's up here. So yes, this is the 7 elements and principles. And if you're hazy and don't know, it just takes some repetition. These are the levels of understanding. It's going to take some time to go from to getting to mastery. It does take, you have to ask questions until you get to clarity and mastery. Fibonacci spirals, yes, Fibonacci spirals, those are fun. That's mathematical. Hello, my sweetie pie. All right, somebody's let me turn it down a little bit. So again, we have about 70 people signed up for tonight. So again, let's get back to drawing now. Again, this is just a warm-up, right? So warming up is really good. And just knowing what you're focusing on. I watched a couple of warming up videos and I was like, oh, they really just making marks. But sometimes practicing with purpose, practicing with a focus is makes your marks more meaningful. You want to know, like, okay, now I'm gonna aim for control. I'm just gonna make lines in between here, right? Or work on shading, work on texture, work on a little bit of control. And the more you practice, the more you'll progress, right? Just really quick warm-up practice. And I never really warmed up, but now I know why, because I never really, I never saw the reason for it. And that's a good point. Like maybe you want to work on shading and value. Okay, so how quickly can you do value, go from dark, and then slowly control the value as it comes out lighter, right? As you go lighter, lighter, lighter. And have a gradient, have a nice gradient there where it goes from dark to light. And there you go, just a little bit of practice. And here we go, we can make a cylinder. All right, we'll get into forms. Again, form is like second level of drawing skill. We're going to get that into form at 8 o'clock hour. Right now, let's get into our drawing. Let's see what we're going to draw. Let's go to share my screen. We've got a lot of drawings that were submitted. Here, let's go there. Let's actually close this. You can kind of see here some of the drawings that we have houses, and we've got some face here that we're going to do animals, and we've got food. Somebody suggested food map stuff, which is really interesting. Maps. I don't know how close we're going to get into those maps. We've got some. We've got a portrait. We'll do another portrait tonight at the end of the night. We'll go into that. And again, we'll also go into form at the 8 o'clock hour. We'll take a little break and go into form. Talking about planes, because this one has a plane right there. This one has a lot of work, but there's a plane here. Notice the angles coming down. All right, why don't we just jump into this? We're going to, yeah, let's just jump into this. Let's see. There's an easy one. So we're gonna do this easy one. But before we do the easy one, let's do a hard one. But we're gonna do a hard one as a warm up. So speaking of warm-ups, we're going to actually, I really like this. We'll probably draw it again, but I like this this goat just for a warm-up. So we're going to do this goat. Welcome. We have some people just coming in right now. You missed our warm-ups, but we have this warm-up. We're going to do our warm-up. We're going to scribble. We're just going to scribble, right? So even with, it seems like, I don't know, it depends on what level you're at, but seeing shape and seeing form, like here you can see, this is going to be a warm-up scribble. You can see, it's always hard to draw with a mouse, but you can see, I can see this form here. We're just scribbling, and then I can see this form. I can see this shape. Wow, I've never done this before. You can see here, I can see this form here, and I'm going to be scribbling this, but I'm going to be doing it on my paper. Then I can see how it's all connected, right? I can see how it's connected. I can see the ears here, how they're sticking out. And scribbling is pretty cool because I can add or take away like a piece of clay. So I'm not worried so much about mistakes. Being a warrior, you really need to be a warrior when you're learning to draw, because so many people are afraid to make mistakes. So many people have beliefs that I can't draw, I can't do this. They get the can'ts and the pants. But you need to know what to focus on, right? The big shapes, and then but the first thing, hey, everything has mass. All right, so I'm going to do that. Let's see how I do. I'll put it this, let me just clear this. I'll put this in the chat, clear viewer drawings. Oops. Clear all drawings. That's what I want. Dang, there it is. I'll put this in the chat real quick, and then I will do one real quick, maybe less than 5 minutes, see how long it takes me to do this. So again, this is just a warm-up. Where's my chat? Here we go. I'll make sure it goes to everyone. There we go. Screenshot this. And then we'll go to the little house. We'll draw the house. All right, so there it is. It's in the chat. And let's get to drawing this. So again, this is just a warm-up. So I'm going to take our previous warm-up and just turn it over and do it right here, because this is just warm-up. This is just for the fun of it. Again, I see this, the body. Look at this body. It's just a good oval shape. There's a slight angle to it. And then the head, I also see the head, right? And this is a scribble drawing. This is just a scribble drawing. We're just scribbling it in. From scribbling to sketching, right? And we're almost seeing what we're doing. I'm doing is seeing the silhouette. I'm not worried about all the detail inside. So I know this is a really good silhouette because we have a circle for the head. And then it kind of comes out to looks like a pear. The head looks like a pear shape, and you'll see these shapes as the more you draw, the more you practice seeing, you'll see these shapes. I'm like, oh, okay, oh, there's a pear, right? And it gets easier. I'm like, oh, okay, I've seen a pear. There's a pear is really just a circle and a triangle put together, a rounded triangle. And you can see the angle of it. See, there's an angle to this. Then there's the horns that kind of come out on it. There's one horn. There's an ear in here. And if I need to make it bigger, I can make it bigger or smaller. The other horn kind of curves here. And I'm doing it, this warm-up these scribbles is just a silhouette. I'm just looking, I'm not worrying about all the stuff on the inside. I'm worried just about the stuff on the outside. Here's this ear at this angle as it comes out that way, almost like a triangle. And it just becomes part of this one shape, that one shape. There we go. Let's zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. And then from here, I can add the body to this. And I already kind of have a body here, but I can add, let me see how the body goes. Let me see that body, it looks pretty good. And seeing how it compares to the head. I'm gonna have to probably go bigger because I can see the head is this big. Now, this is where we're talking about proportions. I can take the head and go, okay, oh, wait a minute. Nope, I'm gonna have to go 2 times here at least. Let me see, here we go. There's the width, 1. I'm measuring the picture, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. So I went like this on the picture. I went 1, 1, 2, 3. So it actually has to come out to here from this width to here. So this is about 3. So I'm gonna have to go out a little further to get my proportions. And what proportions are is how big something is compared to something else. Once you have the head, then you compare it to the body, and you don't want to blow it out of proportion. So we're trying to get it to the right ratios, the right proportions. All right, we have the height, the width. Let's get this leg in here. You can see this leg. There's parts to it. There's the upper leg here, and I can see this almost coming straight down. See this coming straight down here. There we go. Oh, we got some stuff in the chat. Play is the highest form of research. Albert Einstein. Yes, it is. I love that quote. He has so many good ones. He also has one on imagination. All right, so you can see this shape here. You can scribble it in. And then here, this leg here, how it's made up of parts. This other leg, back leg here. There's the 2 legs here. And this is just warm up. And having as a warm up, you know, the stakes are lower. The stakes are lower. So if the stakes are lower, mistakes are fine. That's a good one. I've never used that quote. So if the stakes are lower, mistakes are fine. All right, so here, this whole arm is just coming out like that. This is coming out like that. I can see how big it comes out, and I can break that down into smaller shapes, where I can see where it kind of, this leg kind of curves out, and I'm going to fix it because it actually curves out a little lower. Then it comes down, and then out, and then around. Right, here we go. And then it goes in and out, in and out. There we go, in and out. So I'm trying to capture this shape of this little leg there, the silhouette, and a little bit of space there. Here we go this way, and there it is. And it's you know, a moderate, and I've simplified it because we're just looking at the silhouette. I think well, hopefully maybe we'll see if we can go in there, depending on how much time I want to spend on it. I can get more detail, I can get the eyes, I can get all that stuff. But this is just a warm-up. There it is, our first warm-up. All right, play is the highest form of research. Yep, it is. And imagination is more important than knowledge. That's another Albert Einstein quote. Imagination is more important than knowledge, because knowledge can only take you so far, but imagination will take you everywhere. So the quote kind of goes. All right, let's start off with we're going to do that character right now. That's a good one. But let's start off with the house. Now the house has interesting angles. It's really flat. But what's cool about it is it's flat. You can see the ratios and the angles. All right, so let's take a look. Let's break this one down. I'm looking for the biggest shapes, and the biggest square I see. Let's just put a square in there and see where we can put one. Here we go, a rectangle. They say. If I hold down my shift, I can see. Yeah, here we go. Here's a square. Look at that square right there. That'll kind of get me kind of going in the proportions. Also, kind of helps with angles, because I can if I can see that square, now I can see these other angles compared to it. Right, angles are really important. We use wrap to draw. For those of you who are new, we look for ratios, and then we look for angles, and then we look for proportions and placement and practice. All right, here we go. So we've got these angles here. There's a little bit of curve to them, and I can actually, let's see, I'm trying to break this down. We got one there, one angle there, another angle here, and if we continue these lines, they would connect, right? They would connect. See, these lines connect there. You can watch these angles. Even this, there's a slight angle up. There's a slight angle up. When you see lines, it's also good to see, just imagining, he's talking about imagination, imagining the lines continue. Where do they kind of go? This kind of helps with drawing them. You know, you can see this chimney up here. This is horizontal. That's pretty close to horizontal. Then we have some shapes up here. The smoke is made up of shapes. All right. Now, somebody said, "Oh, it took me longer to explain the stick figure drawing one time." Well, because I broke it down. I'm just breaking it down because then we did another drawing later in the evening of a realistic person, but I didn't, take that long to explain it. But when you're first learning, and it's the same thing with that other drawing, you want to see the big shapes first. Like here, I can see this big oval shape of that tree. Then I can break that down into smaller pieces. Then I can see these smaller pieces there, the smaller pieces and how they all fit, right? See this puzzle. See, now I can see this, there's a slight curve to that, but it is an oval here, that top part of that tree. There's an oval, and I can see that there's a slight tilt to it. And what I'm doing is I'm going back and forth. I first try to see the big shapes, the medium-sized shapes, and then the detail. And then practice going back and forth, back and forth. It's almost like focusing on different things when you're learning to draw. So I wanted to get one line in here. Here we go. This line, this because it's an oval, but there's a slight angle to it. All right, I'm going to, let's just do this real quick. Oh, and there's a really nice line quality, the thick and thinness of the lines, really cool. I'm going to put this in the chat, and then we'll draw this as our first drawing, and then we'll get going. As we progress through the night, we do get into more challenging drawings. So we start off simple, and then we go into more challenging drawings. So if it's too easy, don't get bored, practice your drawing. If it's too hard, hang in there. Hang in there. We do have some hardcore heroes that hang in there to the end of the night. Sometimes we're here pretty late. All right, so here we go. Let's get going on this. Bam. Let's do the little house. There it is. It's in the chat. And let's get going. Let's get a fresh sheet of paper. All right. And we're looking at the shapes. I can start off with that square because square is universal, has the same height, same width. There's that ratio. Let's take a look. That's going to kind of be how we start off our drawing. I can kind of see where that is all going to fit. So I have my square. My square is just going to help me lay everything out, how big everything's going to go on there. So this is my square. And then I know I'm going to have a tree that's going to be right about in here. And I'm just sketching everything out. Let's zoom out a little bit. There we go. So here's a square. No matter, you can check your square by turning it to its side, making sure it has the same height, same width, turning it around. That's a good check. And then I can see that the tree is going to be somewhere around in here. There's a slight angle for the for that trunk. And then you've got all the grass that's kind of like there. And then you have the house is in this area of our square. It actually comes out of that square a little bit at that angle. I'm seeing this angle. I'm seeing this angle. And again, if we imagine these angles going down, they would connect. And then you've got the roof. The roof. It's not on fire, but there's a chimney going. Here we go. There's a slight angle to this, a slight angle. And this is important, especially when you start getting into drawing cubes. The house is not in the chat. It's not. Yes, it is. Oh, because I directed it to Jonathan. Sorry. I lied. Jonathan has it. Let me see. What happens is when people message me in private, direct message, it doesn't. All right, here. Let me see if I can upload it. It's okay. No worries. That was my mistake. Yeah, here we go. Let me see if I can. I'll do it again. Sorry. All right, here we go. Let's do it one more time. Screenshot. I'm going to do a screenshot of my screenshot. Hopefully, the quality doesn't, not a big deal. Bam. Yeah, I had my honey send me a message too, and and then I couldn't. It's all good. Here we go. So it should be in the chat now. There we go. All right, so watch these angles. Watch these angles. See this angle here? This angle here? The square had vertical and horizontal angles. These angles are not vertical and horizontal. And then here's the bottom of the house. And I'm just sketching it in. There's the bottom of the house. And then I can see that the top of the house, the point is a little bit, I would say right about there. And then I can see the angle, this angle here, and that angle there, that angle. And I'm kind of shooting for accuracy, doing all this stuff. And even though this is like a kid drawing, you don't have to worry too much about accuracy. But if you do worry about accuracy, when it gets to drawing faces and other stuff, that's when you know, accuracy really counts. Well, even millimeters, you're like, okay, wait a minute, there's something that's off. But practicing here when it doesn't really count, when it doesn't really make a big deal of a difference, then that really helps. All right, so the smoke, again, I can see it in parts. I can see the big part, and there's like a whole stack of smoke right here. And then I can see the small parts. There's a kind of like a circle there, another circle here, and then another circle there. And I can go back and forth between the big shape and the smaller shapes, right? These three circles. Looks like there's three circles. Now, I don't, let me see. Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, why don't we do it? I'm just going to go ahead and do it because there's windows and doors that we still have to do in more detail. I usually go from big shapes to small shapes, but this is really important. I'm going to focus in on that smoke on the haystack because you don't want that smoke. Hint, hint. All right, here we go. Cracking myself up here. All right, so all right, so now I can see the form there. Now I can actually go around there because there's a circle here. There's this little small circle here, and then here, really beautiful line, quality of line. What I mean by that is it goes thin and then it goes thick, and then it goes thick and thin. There's a lot of thick and thin with these smoke bubbles with this line. Like it's not this thin. This line, it gets really thick up here. And it's actually starts off like thin and light here, and then it goes up. As it goes up, it goes thicker and darker right there. See, so it has that nice little flow, and it continues thick, so it goes around this way as I go around that way, and it continues thick on top all the way up and over. There's a thickness of that line. My students always wanted to rush things in and not get that thickness or quality of line. Now here, the bottom of that smoke, it goes from here to there, actually. It's those circles are kind of gone. It has like another circle. This is another circle here. See those ovals that I drew? This is separate. This is different. This goes from here to here, and then it just goes here and around, here and around. Almost like an upside down V. Onto another shape, I would probably say. But notice the quality of line. Notice how it goes thick in there. And then here, as it comes out this way, it gets lighter. And not like what I have here. Let's clean it up a little bit. There we go. And it goes up and around. There we go. That looks good. Looks like some pretty good smoke. That's the smoke you want. All right, here we go. Ooh, a nice little there we go, a little bit of smoke. And that our sketch, you know, our sketch lines actually add to the smoke, you know, our little sketchy lines. Oh, actually there is shading on this, a little bit of shading on top. Let's throw some shade. And let me do my shade line. I'm not going to explain it, but just follow it. It goes here and then here up around that way and then up that way up in here. And then all this is shaded. That just line that I just did, it's shaded up to that line. It helps give the smoke form, and it's not flat. Here, this is kind of like spheres, like spheres. The spheres put together to make that smoke. All right, there's our smoke is done. Let's do the chimney. Work my way down. I'm kind of breaking my rules a little bit, but that's okay. Rules are made to be broken if you understand them. But usually go from big to small. I'm already going small, the detail here. There's a really nice thick line there. And this line is thick at the top, and then here it goes thick to thin. But it's still a little thinner. Still thick though, this line, the chimney here. There's the chimney. Here's where it's really thin. Here it's almost even faint on the roof. It comes down faint up here, gets a little thicker up on top and thinner there. Here it really gets thick on this left side. On this left side, it's really thick, right here. And as it goes up that way, it gets thinner and lighter. But that's just something, you know, you don't have to worry too much when you're first learning, or you're focusing on learning to draw. The quality of line, it's nice. It's like the icing on the cake again. You know, that's nice, but when you're first learning to draw, it makes it look nicer. But you don't have to worry about it. You should know what you're focusing on. Right now, I'm focusing on shading that whole roof. So I'm adding a little bit of a shade. The roof is blue. Good practice, just back and forth. Get that shade in there. If you want to go darker, you can actually see how I did this all a hatch. It's called a hatch in one direction. And if I hatch in a different direction, it becomes a cross hatch. And it goes a little bit darker. See, I'm building up my shade. I can go a little bit darker. This was probably done 100% sure. It was digitally done. The original was digitally done. Digitally, colored digitally. That's why it's all really flat. Nicely, nice. No texture, no disparity. Okay, we've got our roof. We've got our side of the house here. And this side of the house. Coming in like that. The bottom of the house, it's not even complete. It's just, you just see part of it coming up and over. All right, this house, I'm gonna just sketch in the windows. They're square or rectangular, but I'm gonna put ovals in here just for placeholders to just get the width and the height. See, I can do this really quickly as ovals, but this helps just get the placement really quickly. If I'm doing this like, okay, I've got one window here, one window there, and that really helps with the angles. It helps with the placement. And then now I can go in there and go a little more detail and really see. Let's zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. This window kind of goes out at an angle this way, and then this angle kind of down that way. And this is almost like a kid drawing. I mean, the angles are going everywhere, but so we're trying to copy a kid drawing and make that accurate. See, so you have this angle and this angle here, and then the bottom is probably the only one that's accurate. It should be horizontal. And there we go, those angles. Really important when you start drawing and getting realistic in 3D space. Those angles this way, these angles are almost parallel. They do taper a little bit as it comes down on this window. It does get closer together. Same thing with this window, they do taper. So as it comes down, something to notice, it gets closer together. It's closer together. And then we've got this one up here, this line up there. And if you know unsure, start light until it's right. Start light until it's right, and then you can go darker. See, I'm actually going kind of light and building it darker. And here I can go darker now. Once I know, okay, this is really thick right in here. This line's really thick. It's a cartoony kid house drawing uploaded by Ellen. Thank you, Ellen. And now for something completely simple, she wrote. Ellen, up Northern California. I forget what city she's in, but she just uploads pictures for us now. She doesn't join us anymore. All right, here we go. So nice and solid shapes as on the outside. And then notice the thick to thin, how it's thick on one side and then goes thinner. I'll try to observe and try to capture that. Then the cross line in there, there's one going that way, that angle, and then the other one going this way, the window pane. Is there an angle to it? No, it's almost horizontal. There we go. I can feel it. There we go. There's one window. And then here, let's do the other window. Again, it's thin at the top and it gets thicker at the bottom. And it's really thick here at the bottom. And it's going up that way. And notice we start off with ovals, but we're back to rectangles. Back to rectangles right on top. The ovals were just really quick placeholders. Really quick to see how it fits, the height, the width. And it's a quick way to do it. Instead of, like you can see this door, like I know it's going to fit there, but I can just really, okay, there's my door. And then start squaring it out, blocking it in. Oh, squaring it out. There we go, that door. If I'm going too slow, I'm sorry. That's the hard part with, you got to take ownership of your learning. You go to a class and, oh man, the class is too hard. Oh, the class is too easy. And, it's teachers have to deal with aiming at the middle of the class. But if you take your ownership and watch the video and say, okay, well, I'm just going to do level 1 drawings and look for those as I label them and put thumbnails, which is what I'm doing right now. You can take the lessons in order because I'm kind of like throwing all the lessons in together. As soon as I get the lessons out, just all right, there we go. Here we go. This is not incomplete line. It kind of just is right here. And there it is. All right, and there's shadows. Let's put the shadows in. Now there's a shadow on this whole house. It comes in about the middle part of this, under this triangle. It comes in and then it comes straight down right before that window pane, that line, center line. So it goes in and then down, and then it comes out on this side. Well, there's a little stick, and then it comes down to the corner of the door. It's on the inside of the door. That shade comes in and out. So this whole area is shaded. I just outlined it. Now I can shade it in. It's not as dark as our roof. It's a little lighter. So I'm just going to shade a little bit lighter. Good practice shading. And again, this is a value. It's higher up on our skills. So if you don't get this smooth shading, I wouldn't worry about it. You'll get there. I am getting like really quick, smooth shading. And that takes some practice. Don't get discouraged. Don't compare to despair. People compare to despair. They see somebody else and they say, oh, I can't. See, they compare themselves to other people. Or if you're playing a game, you just do your best. Do your best till you'll know better. And then when you know better, you'll do better. Always challenge, challenge, challenge. Rise to the challenge. Yep. That's why when I'm playing a game or something, sometimes I like being behind because I'm like, okay, it pushes me a little bit more. It pushes me to strive. If something's too easy, you can get bored. You can get bored. Unless you know how to entertain yourself. Let's say, okay, now what do I look for? What am I working on? What kind of pencil am I using? Good question. It doesn't matter. You can use, but it is a 2B. It is a 2B. I got this one at Joann's, 2Bs. I have an HB. HB is the middle pencil. And I can use a ballpoint pen. I can use, when you're first learning, it's all the principles are the same. You can be doing this digitally. You can be doing this. Don't get caught up in the material so much. But yeah, that's a great question. It is 2B. I love 2B. 2B or not 2B? That is a good question. All right, so here we go. Let's get this grass. I can see it. It kind of flows in this direction. There's a little flow. See that flow? And then I can see that there's like I see where my tree's gonna go. There's 3 bumps. Depending on how accurate I want to get. I want to see 1, 2, and then 3. The 3 bumps. 3 bumps right there. And it's pretty thick. The line's pretty thick. So it goes from here, then out and down. Out and down, and then it goes out and then down, and a little smaller out and down. There it is. See there, down and out. And then there's a crazy thickness. So you really have to observe the thickness of this line, and the quality is really cool. Almost like a calligraphy. It goes thick to thin as it comes up. I think I just messed that up. It's all right. It's hard to talk and draw at the same time. But there we go. That's it. Oh, it does go thick at the this here. I'm going from right to left. Thick and then here thin. There we go. I think I nailed on that one. I got that one a little more accurate. There we go. That's all good. And then our tree. There's an angle to it. See, this is perpendicular or vertical. Straight up and down. This tree has a slight angle to it. And then this other line is parallel to that line, this thickness of this tree here. All right, there it is. Ah, I just messed it up. It's all right. And here there's two little swirls, two little squiggles. So this one goes up and down, and then up and down right in there. Yeah, see on that underlying flow of a line that I did underneath. All right, here we go. Let's do this. I broke this one down in the picture. Let's do it here. I've got almost like a circle in here, then another circle there, and then another little right about there, and then this top part of the tree right in there. And I can compare it to the house. I know it should probably be a little bit higher than where I have it. Slightly a little bit taller. Then on this side, another, looks like a number 3. It is, looks like a number 3 as it comes down and around like this. There it is. And I scribbled it and sketched it in. Now I can go in there. I can probably even use ink and go in there and get this. I can start off with my first line. It'd be interesting to see how this person did it. They could have done it with one stroke with a computer program. And the harder you press, the darker it gets and the thicker the line gets. But they probably did a sketch like this underneath, and then on top, just really quickly just did the strokes to get really nice movement. A lot of energy when it goes from thin to thick, these thick to thin lines. There's a lot going on here. Seems like a simple drawing, and it is, but when you break it down, you start seeing like, oh, okay, I never noticed all these thick to thin lines. I've never noticed these shapes. Right. Let's see, this thick, it goes thin here and then it goes thick again. Ellen thought she was giving us a simple. She's found some really good stick people. All right, I should probably time to read my comments. Or if somebody reads them, somebody sees something there. Let's see, BRB. All right. BRB. You can pause if you're watching this on YouTube. We do have this on YouTube. We are recording for YouTube. All right, let's put the shadows in here. All right, so there's a shadow. Where box has gone over yet? No. How did you learn to draw like this? Oh, that's a good question. Woo. Wow. I learned to draw like this. I've been drawing since I was 5 years old. I've been drawing for a long time. So it's trial and error. It's I don't know. Well, there's a lot of ways I learned how to draw like this. But it's interesting. It's observing, it's learning from other people. So I'm using a few different techniques actually. And I learned trying to teach others, because one of the hardest things to see is space, learning to see space and how things come together. All right, there we go. This tree's almost done. Yeah, that's quite an interesting question. How did I learn how to draw? Yeah. You know, it's learning to observe. I remember sitting I was like, I don't know, 5, 6 years old, sitting in the street, and my dad saw me. I don't know, I got a crate, a milk crate, and I just sat down and I drew my dad's house, you know, and I was out there like doing measurements. I don't know how I figured out angles too. And I'm like, looked at it and I have that drawing somewhere. They're drawing somewhere. I have to I don't know. Let's see if I have it. And I drew my parents' house. It was really interesting. I don't know how old I was. The dates on there, I gotta dig it up. I gotta dig up all my old drawings. All right. Anyways, here we go. And then yeah, just a lot of trial and error over the years. It did take a long time to learn how to draw. I am giving you shortcuts, so you kind of have to get the lessons. And it's hard because I don't know. Repetition can get bored, like, oh, I heard this already. Oh no, but the thing is, it's practice. Right here, we're just practicing. when you get to the lessons, I'm putting the lessons together. I've got a Word document, and I've got all kinds of other stuff that I'm working on to put together, but it's coming together. There it is. Trial and error, college professors or a comedy team? Oh, that's a good question. No, trial and error. It's all of the above. Trial and error. Yeah, sometimes things don't work. But the thing is action. The whole thing is taking action. Like our scribble drawings, right? You're gonna just do it. Scribbles and drawings and warm-ups. All right. Let's see. Let's go a little bit harder. All right. Let's take on another challenge. We'll stop here and start over again. Let's see how this works. I'm gonna try and alt